Now, everyone watching us tonight would have had some interaction with the company and the founder of the company that I'm about to speak about. I mean, Jim's Mowing is right across the nation, and now Jim's is just about involved in every handyman job that you can possibly think about. Now, the founder, I should say, of Australia's most recognisable franchise, so fed up, as I am, with Labor's economic management in Victoria and its failure to address issues like crime, soaring energy costs, housing, that he's become the latest backer of the Libertarian Party ahead of the Victorian election, which will be held in November next year. And I'm pleased to say Jim Penman, the founder of Jim's Mowing, joins me now. Great to see you again. You have dipped your toe into politics, particularly, I remember, during the dim, dark days, Jim, of COVID, when Dan Andrews told your people they couldn't mow a lawn. But you've not been a big political figure yourself up until now. Why change?
Because housing is such an urgent issue, and it's something we can do something about. There's a lot of entrenched problems in this country, but high-priced housing, high rents is simply government policy. Rents could go way down, and housing prices could be much, much more affordable if government was prepared to change their policy, and that's what we're after. It's achievable. What's the key policy that you think needs to be either abolished, fiddled with, or changed? Basically zoning. Basically, it costs 8 times an average income to buy a house. It used to cost like 4. When I bought a house in the 1970s as a student with a part-time lawn mowing business. I could buy a house. You couldn't even dream of that now. Zoning has become so restricted. We don't allow people to build what they want, where they want. And they just forced up the price of housing. I live on 5 acres, okay? 5 acres, 5 minutes from station, 5 minutes from shops, 1 house allowed. There should be 30 people on this block. It's a beautiful place. Why don't they allow that? Stupid zoning restrictions. But would you be a NIMBY saying, not in my backyard? I mean, you obviously can afford to live on 5 acres. Why would you want to be jammed in by other people? Well, apart from anything else, I make a lot of money out of it too, because you could subdivide the place. I wouldn't do too badly. Well, that's true. And this is a council issue as well, clearly. And local government in this country has control of planning policy. Should we take it out of the hands of local government? But God forbid, Jim, that we'd put it in the hands of the state Victorian Labor Party. Well, the state government controls it, basically. It's a state issue. It's not a federal issue. Local issue just does what the state tells them to. If the state government decided to basically dismantle this dreadful zoning bureaucracy and have people able to build what they wanted, where they want, you would find the price would come down way that the local council have to agree. They could do what we do in Texas, actually. They have a system there that if you don't get a permit to do what you want within a month, you can go to a town planner or an architect and they'll do it for you. So we could do the same thing. Get rid of all the town planning bureaucracy complete. Simple, basic, easy to understand program, quick decisions, and just let's have affordable housing. It's not that difficult. They've done it in New Zealand, actually, starting in 2017. They brought the price of housing down in New Zealand, and rents is not what they do. They've done it in Minneapolis. If you look at the US, you look contrast between cities like, say, San Francisco, where the average house price is over $2 million in Australian terms, compared with Houston, where it's about $500,000, again, in Australian terms. So 4 times the cost of housing simply because the zoning is different. Why the Libertarian Party? Why have you chosen to put your hand up and support them? Well, I've looked around quite a lot to see who's the best, and they seem to have the nearest to what I want. Zoning, to me, is the key issue. House pricing is absurd. My daughter and her partner went to rent an apartment. There were 40 people turning up, 40 people to rent, and not even a cheap apartment. And I actually went to the landlord and I said, hey, I'll pay the whole thing a year in advance. They still didn't get it. It's just lunatic the way they force people to say they've got this policy which says, let's bring $500,000 new immigrants into the country every year, and let's use the iron hand of government, forbid anybody to build enough houses. What could possibly go wrong? Should we pause or at least
cut back on the level of immigration. Now, I'm happy to say that I believe we need to at least put a pause in it, because what's the point of bringing in 500,000 people a year where they've got nowhere to live? Or if they have got somewhere to live, they're pushing out people who are already living there.
I think given the situation where the government's forbidding building of houses effectively, it's probably unwise to bring in so many people. But having said that, there are a lot of really wonderful people. My wife, she's an immigrant, first generation immigrant. She employs about 30 Australians. She's a developer. She runs conference centres. She's a great asset. You need entrepreneurial, smart, educated people. I think where we've got to be more careful is bringing in people who are refugees, impoverished refugees from war-torn countries. They don't assimilate very well. Not good for us, not even good for them. So I think we can be more careful in who we choose, put it that way. But, so many of my franchisees are migrants, and they're wonderful men and women. I love them dearly. So I'm a bit biased in that respect.
Just before you go, 4 years on from COVID, can you still believe it that your lawn mowing people were told they could not put on the noise reduction headphones, start up a mower and mow a lawn on their own?
Oh, it was ludicrous. We did a case against the Victorian government to say your own law says you cannot take a person's livelihood away without good reason. That's their own law back from 2008. So we said, okay, what was your reason for throwing 100,000 plus Victorians out of work? You know what their response was? We don't have to tell you.
Yeah,
and the court backed them. They said you can't take a person's livelihood without good reason, but the reason is whatever the government says it is, and they don't have to tell you what it is. It's just ludicrous. They had no reason at all for doing that. There was no health reasons. We had the worst lockdown of any city in this country, one of the worst in the world, and the highest death rate.
Tell me about it, Jim. I was in the middle of it with you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Good luck with that campaign.